In this episode, we go to Birmingham to cover the drive-by killing of a father of 8, Anthony Sargent, who was shot and killed in 2018. Anthony Sargent was dubbed the King of Lee Bank, an inner city part of the area where he lived with his family. The talented footballer founded Richmond Rovers and was a player and manager for the team, a local hero to all, a well-liked man who stood up for local youth and guided them away from the empty existence of being in criminal gangs. He worked for Jaguar Land Rover and was known as a community legend. An hour before the shooting of Anthony Sargent, his killers, the gang, were celebrating at a friend's birthday. One image shows all four smiling as they drink in a pub to celebrate Connor Goodwin's 23rd birthday. Another shows the Goodwin brothers and Riley smiling as they pose with a group of friends. But then, for an unknown reason, they travelled in a convoy of 2 stolen cars, a Mercedes and a BMW, and headed towards Anthony Sargent's address. He was outside his house talking to a friend when the stolen BMW and Mercedes pulled up and 2 shots were fired. The killers sped off, leaving Anthony Sargent lying in the street. He died in hospital 6 days later. Officers scoured CCTV and analysed mobile phones to link the killers to the stolen cars used in the murder. The gun was recovered during a raid in Derbyshire in November 2019, and police ballistics proved it was the murder weapon. A BMW was later found abandoned at a car park, while despite police investigations, the Mercedes involved in the murder has never been found. One of the vehicles had been driven by Dante Mullings, who was later killed in another drive-by shooting before he could be arrested. On May 7, 2019, at around 5 p.m, Dante Mullings, a dad of 2, had been sitting in his Vauxhall Corsa at St Vincent Street, Ladywood. It was parked just yards from a primary school. A Volkswagen Passat pulled up alongside, and then a person inside opened fire. 8 shots were fired, with Dante Mullings being in the front passenger seat. He was left dying at the scene from wounds to his back. A second man had a bullet removed from his temple, and a third man had a bullet removed just below his spine. The court was told that the fact that only one person died was pure chance, and that it could easily have been a triple murder. Dante Mullings, it said, had been executed in a revenge attack because it was believed he and the others he was with were responsible for an attack on another man, Kimani Shaw. Kimani Shaw had been the victim of a serious stabbing attack, and the day before the shooting, some of Dante Mullings' killers had gone to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, where Kimani Shaw was fighting for his life. Ishan Bernard, who was 21 years old, Armani Bernard Soul, who's 25 years old, Ayub Mahmood, who's 19 years old, and Deal Jackson, who's 22, had all been found guilty of conspiracy to murder between May the 5th and May the 8th, 2019. They were also convicted of conspiracy to possess a firearm between the same dates. Mahmood was also found guilty of possessing a self-loading pistol with the intent to endanger life. Judge Francis Laird, QC, passed a minimum term of 29 years on Ishan Bernard, Armani Bernard Soul, and Deal Jackson before they could be considered for release, and 26 years was given to Ayub Mahmood. The judge said there was no evidence whatsoever that the victims were involved in the attack on Mr. Shaw. The killers in the 2018 murder of Anthony Sargent, nearly 4 years after the killing, were sentenced at Birmingham Crown Court on July 2nd, 2022. Detective Inspector Hannah Whitehouse said, "We've been able to prove that these men acted together, travelling in a convoy of 2 stolen cars across Birmingham to go to Richmond Drive, where Anthony Sargent was shot." Michael Goodwin, who's 27 years old, was jailed for life with a minimum term of 28 years. Connor Goodwin, 28 years old, was jailed for life with a minimum term of 32 years. Keenan Anderson, 26 years old, was jailed for life with a minimum term of 32 years. Leon Riley, 22 years old, was jailed for life with a minimum term of 28 years. The motive for the murder of Anthony Sargent, the King of Lee Bank, is still unknown.